Well, hundreds of military veterans are suing the manufacturing company 3M, claiming it knowingly sold defective earplugs. These complaints come after the Department of Justice settled a lawsuit with the company in July. It was over allegations that the company defrauded the government by selling earplugs with dangerous design defects to the military for more than a decade. Our Dr. Jon LaPook met two veterans who say the combat earplugs failed to prevent catastrophic injuries, including hearing loss. John, good morning.
Good morning. 3M agreed to pay $9.1 million to the government, but admitted no liability. I spoke with servicemen who deployed in Afghanistan and Iraq, where they were near the firing of small arms, heavy artillery, and rockets. Until that 3M settlement, they believed their hearing loss was par for the course.
We were told these devices are going to save our hearing, and that's what we did. We used them.
Yeah, I mean, the basic expectation is that you can rely on your training and your equipment.
Joseph Junk and David Henderson served in the U.S. military for 3 and 6 years, respectively. Junk says he joined the Army as part of family tradition, and Henderson felt a duty to his country after 9/11. They both relied on these earplugs to protect them in training and combat.
Everybody was just under the impression that these particular earplugs were doing their job.
You thought they worked?
Everybody thought they worked.
And you're trusting the armed forces?
Well, you're trusting certainly the contractor assigned to provide that equipment.
We've just been told that this is the equipment you get, and it's the best out there. It's going to save your hearing. Later on, we found out that it didn't really protect our hearing that much at all.
A joint lawsuit filed by the government and by Moldex, a competitor of 3M, the manufacturer of the earplugs, alleged 3M was aware prior to selling the earplugs to the military that testing procedures and fitting instructions were unlawfully manipulated. And it also claimed they sold the plugs from 2003 to 2015 without disclosing the design defect.
It wasn't an omission. It wasn't something missed. It was deliberately lying to gain money and hurting our service members.
Last month, Junk and Henderson filed civil complaints against 3M, claiming the company did not adequately warn of the defects or adequately warn how to wear the earplugs.
From what I remember, guys would put them in, and like they had bigger ear canals, so it would go all the way in and sort of get stuck in there. Or you had guys that would put them in and they'd still be able to hear absolutely everything. But you have so many other things to worry about, particular to safety or your physical well-being.
So you have to triage your worries.
Sure.
Your
absolutely.
worry bucket, right?
Absolutely.
At the top was staying alive.
Absolutely.
That was concern number one.
And hearing was kind of like
It's at the bottom of the list.
They say they both suffer from partial hearing loss and a condition known as tinnitus, described as a high-pitched hissing sound.
The moment you stop hearing sounds around you is the moment the ringing gets the loudest.
when it's quiet.
What is quiet? What's peace? I know for me personally, I don't have it. All I hear is ringing if there's no noise around me.
So you're hearing some sound 24/7?
At all times. If I do not have noise around me, it's maddening. It is torture.
According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, tinnitus is the most common disability experienced by veterans, with over 2.7 million receiving benefits for it.
Our military personnel are exposed to extreme levels of noise.
Dr. Thomas Rowland of NYU Langone Health explained that sound enters not only through the ear canal, but also through something known as bone conduction.
When sound strikes the bone of our skull, the bone moves with the sound. Even if you completely block the ear, sound above a certain level can still get to the inner ear through bone conduction and still be very damaging.
He says that any earplug, even one perfectly designed, cannot prevent bone conduction of loud sound through the skull to the inner ear.
These earplugs have a dangerous design flaw.
Andrew Duffy represents over 24 veterans who use these earplugs.
The goal is to send a message to 3M and other companies that you cannot defraud the United States of America and have the consequences be the health and well-being of our military members.
Is there any defense in saying no earplug, no matter how good, would ever protect you from the percussive wave, the shock wave that could also be doing damage to your ears?
I couldn't say yes or no. As a soldier, you're putting something in your ear that's going to stop that sound wave from hitting your inner ear and the sensitive parts of your ear that allow you to hear.
I know you know this well, but no settlement you receive is going to get your hearing back and get rid of the tinnitus.
No. You can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on one of your senses, on your enjoyment of life, of maybe tranquil peace and quiet, or how I used to enjoy music. I can't I can't enjoy music like I used to.
Where does that leave you guys?
Still very angry, still wanting, wanting to, raise awareness to our, fellow service members, to get the word out. Go get tested, go to the doctor. But then, also wanting 3M to own up to it, to explain it more. We can maybe start with an apology.
Those earplugs have been discontinued, and the Department of Justice declined to comment on which earplugs the military currently uses. 3M told us it has a long history of partnering with the U.S. military and continues to make products to protect our troops. It denies the earplugs were defectively designed.
I'm so glad you did this story, and it's a reminder, too, that our veterans who come back and may appear healthy if they're not missing them, they are still suffering the effects and trauma of war. It is real.
You can't see.
Yes.
And I think he said it best when he said you can't put a price on one of your senses, right? He's never going to be the same.
And he was so poetically described his love of music, which has now been really interrupted.
That, yeah. It's a very, very sad story, but I'm also glad that all these years I've been saying tinnitus wrong.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing.
I thought it was tinnitus, too.
No, and we would say to John, "Now, John, I think it's tinnitus." He goes, "No, trust me,
So it's
tinnitus."
It's tinnitus.
You went to medical school, all right.
Yes. Tinnitus.
Yeah, I didn't
Okay,
know
good to
that.
know.
It's tomato, tomato, but in this case, it's
Tinnitus.
tinnitus.
I'm
Thanks,
with Norah.
Doctor.
I'm glad you brought that story, too.
Thank you.
People need to know about that.
Thank you, Dr. LaPook.